is a adage, Puerto Rican adage my grandmother used to say. I haven't heard it in a long time. And she used to say, te voy a decir dos o tres verdades. I'm going to tell you 2 or 3 truths. I'm not sure that that's translated appropriately, but I think it is. 2 or 3 truths. And that was the preamble of very painful but necessary words. Something about the power of the words of a grandmother who cares for you, who deeply loves you. And she would never begin there, right? She would try other ways of wooing us in to tell us and guide us the right way. But then when we became stubborn and a little bit out of hand, and we would not listen particularly, she would sit us down to tell us dos o tres verdades, 2 or 3 truths. And that meant that there was honesty just coming at you in ways that you would not expect. And at the beginning, you were a little injured. Has that happened to you? Like at the beginning, you're a little injured, but then you think about it. And if you're honest with yourself, you say, you know, that was true. Right? Like that was the beginning, you're like, oh my God. And you cry, and you throw yourself on the floor. Like we saw earlier today. I got a little alarmed. Did you see me? I was like, what's happening? The children faint. I have seen that happen in my ministry, believe me. So it just, you know, you're just upset and tearful, and then you have a moment of reflection, and you say, you know, that was right on. So this dos o tres verdades moments, I miss them in the world because we are instead just immersed in a world of innuendos and hidden agendas. And you never really know, or often you don't know, if people are really telling you the truth. You're wondering often what is the truth behind it. So we need to go back to those moments of 2 or 3 truths in love, with respect, so that we're able to hear each other. And also, those moments allow us to look at ourselves in a way that is revealing even when our actions have been shameful. So this morning in the gospel lesson, we're hearing from Mark dos o tres verdades, 2 or 3 truths. Mark is the writer who told us the story of Jesus in the most concise way. He wasn't about the details. He was about letting you know what happened and moving on to the next. But yet, he takes time to tell us about the death of John the Baptist. 15 verses to be exact. He takes the time to tell us how it came about, how it was really the desire of a woman who had been chastised by him, how Herod dealt with that, and how it came about at the end. Lest we are tempted to dismiss this as another insignificant marker in the life of Jesus in the world. He does not spare the details in this particular incident. He tells us the capricious nature of this act, the injustice committed. He allows us to see the underbelly of an empire that was corrupt and the pure waste of life. And perhaps in doing so, what he does for us is he invites us to courage. He invites us to have courage to look in the eye the ugliness of our day, to look in the eye the corrupt systems of this time, that continue to perpetuate injustice. We do not often now in this day and age hear stories of governments beheading their subjects. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It means we don't hear about it. But I want us, church, to think about, is it possible that there is a beheading of the gospel happening right now? I mean, think about the days we're living in. You know, I arrived from Puerto Rico minding my own business. I arrived in New York City, and one of the first things I hear upon my arrival is a televangelist who preaches the prosperity gospel. You saw my eyes rolling a little bit there. Declared that Jesus was not an illegal refugee. And then she proceeded to defend detention centers. Right? If I was in Puerto Rico, somebody would have said, "Ay, papá." And then she called them nice and amazing. All right. Her argument was that Jesus did not break laws because if he had, she stated, he would not have been our Messiah. Now, church, you and I are going to have a 2 or 3 verdades moment. I just want to say to you, let the record show, you could quote me on this, that Jesus broke unjust laws. That Jesus was arrested and at the end lost his life. Are we good with that? Let no one else tell you any different. He was an illegal refugee because Herod was killing newborns. Read it, it's there. Now, he confronted the corruption of the empire. He confronted during his life the complicit actions of some religious leaders. And he perpetually lived declaring 2 or 3 truths. 2 o 3 verdades. Now, again, I want to say to you that Jesus was an illegal refugee. So we need to we cannot continue to safeguard our comfort because we want to justify an injustice. Now, there is a disease that has been plaguing Christianity in this country for centuries. And Frederick Douglass said it best. He said, "What I have said respecting and against religion," he stated, "I mean strictly to apply to the slave-holding religion of this land, and with no possible reference to Christianity proper. For between the Christianity of this land and the Christianity of Christ, I recognize the widest possible difference, so wide that to receive one as good, pure and holy, is of necessity to reject the other as bad, corrupt, and wicked. To be the friend of one is of necessity to be the enemy of the other. I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ," Douglass said. "I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, partial and hypocritical Christianity of this land." I could just drop the mic and go sit down right now, right? Enough said. Church, these are my words now. To call ourselves Christians and then justify evil committed by the empire is, in my opinion, forfeiting our right to claim Christianity as our religion. What kind of beheading are we committing today? We're not beheading human beings, perhaps, as means of a capital punishment, but we are beheading human decency. We are beheading our moral values. We are beheading the gospel of Jesus Christ. We are beheading children when we separate them from their parents. We are beheading the elderly when they have to choose between paying for their medication or paying for their food. We are beheading women when we rip away their reproductive rights. We are beheading people of color when we have a pipeline from their neighborhoods to jail. We are beheading victims of natural disasters when we are complicit in crisis capitalism. Church, we may not be beheading people, but we are beheading with a knife and with an apparatus. But we are beheading them with a system that continue to take their lives away. And those are my 2 or 3 truths this morning for us, for me too. But I want to take a moment and invite us to look at our own lives, at the Church of Jesus Christ in the world. Less than a year ago, I stood here in one of my first sermons, and I said that we needed to take back Christianity from those who have taken it as means and have weaponized it to oppress the poor. We need to take back what we believe is what God has given us, our beliefs and our faith, to do justice and peace in the world. But in order to do that, and to do it well, we need courage. We need the courage to say dos o tres verdades. Verdades that need to be said in a way that can be heard. And sometimes is having an intelligent conversation. And sometimes is turning some tables. That was the Jesus way. I didn't make that up. I have not turned tables yet in a physical way, but I'm sure I've turned them with my words. Now, we have to be prepared. What is taking our life away? What is weighing us down? What have we been carrying all of our lives that is not allowing us to speak up at this time? What hurt continues to just cripple us on our way? What have we not forgiven? From whom have we not heard 2 or 3 truths? And to whom have we not said 2 or 3 truths? This is the time, because time waits for no man or no woman. Time waits for no one. And our children are growing so fast. I remember coming here and seeing little babies this was just a year ago, being carried by their parents, and now they're running around and taking everyone in their way with them. Time waits for nobody. And I, Damaris Whittaker, refuse for my faith to be represented by Paula White. That is not going to happen. I'm just letting you know that right now. Let that be broadcasted somewhere. The Christianity that we practice in this church is centered in social justice, is centered in justice and peace, is centered in love of the neighbor, is centered in love of the stranger, is centered in the love that God is calling us to live in this world, and that is not compromised by someone going to a detention center saying to me that it's nice while she's living the life on behalf, because, prosperity gospel pays well. We need to call it. It is time. That is not my faith. That is not my Christianity. My Christianity sends me to the mountains of Orocovis, Puerto Rico with the youth of this church to break our backs, to help our neighbor, to work side by side with them, because my liberation and their liberation is bounded together. That's what my faith sends me to do. To leave the comfort of my life to feel the pain of my neighbor. To challenge me to look inside myself, to let down all the baggage that I have in my heart so that I can serve the world. That's the Christianity that I live, the one that challenges me every day, the one that is not for the faint of heart, the one that is uncomfortable, it is unpopular, and is censored many times. But this is the day that we need to speak up. And I will say this to you, I don't care what nobody says. No detention center is nice. No detention center is amazing. This is a sin that we're committing as a nation, and the church has to declare that. This is a time of dos o tres verdades, 2 or 3 truths. Are we willing to speak them? Amen.